Looking at this chart, for us, the XRP holders, we feel like we are betrayed. Instead of getting a breakout here with some positive news, what we just saw is that Ether got another free pass. And it's not just that. When you look at the ERC20s, the surge is slowly grinding back up. And it's still at a level which we haven't seen for like a couple of years. And then you come back to XRP, its price action, and how the surge is progressing there. This is last 1 year, and it is showing you slowly the number of surge is going up. But how high that should actually go for us to say, okay, there is enough amount of people searching that from different parts of the world, as you can see, whether it's from the Ireland, the Australia, the Turkey, different parts of the world. Because when I show you this saying we are still trying to go up, the search is just starting to pick up, there are other assets which actually show you the search is now going through the roof. Compared to the last segment, this is Toncoin showing you Jan 2022, that level has been surpassed right now. And it's not just done in the search side of things. When you go look at the same asset in the same ecosystem, you can actually see some different coins trying to push higher. But Ton itself as an asset has grinded to the upside for last 1.5 years. And that's one of the reasons why you see this. But you need to be aware of different narratives in the market, whether that's AI as a segment or real world assets as a segment. And you look at them and say, okay, what the hell is really happening? Why the hell is these assets riding to the upside? And that kind of thought process is what I would like to share with you in this video, breaking things down into an easier path. Welcome to the Scientific Investor family, where the normal retail guys get to learn how to become the next top 10% of this world. What you're watching in front of you is a chart which I posted to the SI family. And it's like, 20 days before. I was arguing the fact that, okay, we may actually come back down towards this trend line, which for Ether has been valid for like a year. And this is what we are watching right now. So half of that is now a reality. What we want to follow through is to see if we get to see the next half also becoming a reality. Yes, the news side, the current affairs side, the fundamentals for Ether has improved substantially for the ERC20 tokens as well. Because it's not just me saying that, the market kind of shows you that. For the entire crypto, you're still watching it's lower than the recent run-up phase, whereas for ERC20s, it's already back up to that level. So you kind of get to see what people are searching around the globe. Solana has spiked a couple of times, and this time the hype was big. Think about that. Whether it's the initial run-up earlier this year or the next one around March, those went above the search history of 2021. Now put that into perspective with the price action. Say from Ether, you take up the chart of Solana. Say we'll bring it up from the Binance and put it on a 3-day chart. What do you think is happening in front of you? The price action did go up massively, all the way from $9 to $195, $200, depending on which exchange you pick. But that's a huge rally. And that's exactly where the price action actually showed you a negative divergence. Now, are we complete here? Are we going to go back up? Because as of now, if you do look at the price action, you will have to put the argument, yes, we are developing a positive structure in the RSI. We may actually get a bounce. But the price structure argues a fact that if you give up this range, which is 115, then look for around 80. That's going to be the next range. So you zoom in, you want to see, okay, can we really break that low, or are we going to bounce off from here? As of now, your 3-day moving average is tilting to the downside. Daily moving average is tilting to the downside. The macro, which is the weekly here in this case, is going up. So all that you want to know is that it's going to be a buy the dip, and if it is about to drop, what's the historical drop in this asset? Because you should not panic if you are about to ride this asset to the top. For Solana, whether it's back in 2021 or now, it's a decent drop, 50 to 70% drop. So put that into perspective. What would that actually mean? If it's a 50% drop, that's like 105. Okay, so 110, 115 is not bad. If it's a 70% drop, then you're talking about $65, which would mean there is some more pain in the market. So the highlight is, now the price is at 135 and you still may see some more downside. So now you're like, okay, fine. How low should we actually go? Are we reaching close to a support? Are we breaking a support? That's where the 70% odds now enter into the picture, which would mean you may actually see around $60 to $75 as a buy range here. Maybe I'm completely off, but I'm giving you why I'm saying that. The MACD crossed to the downside and it's going lower. RSI broke to the downside from a long-term trend line. A retest and a rejection would be the perfect scenario. Now, if it's a fake out, great. It's good for the bulls. But then the argument is, if you already got the exit liquidity here for that short-term ride, most likely the market should dump on them. For the assets where you haven't reached that level, remember, the exit liquidity is just coming. While you are in a phase like this, which is showing you a structure which we have seen previously, before we take off, it's optimistic. It's optimistic. Because Bitcoin as an asset is still holding about 65. The key argument which we put in was 61. One, we didn't come that close. Two, we are still holding on to the trend line, which is a macro trend line support. It was a resistance for a quite while. Then it turned into a long-term support. Yeah, if you do give this up, then you're talking about something in the 40s, 40,000 mark. But most likely that 60,000, 61,000 is your support. But for that, you need to see two breakouts. One, if you're optimistic, you would like to see a break of 71. If you are like a little bit conservative, you want to see the price breaking 74. So these are two key regions which you're focusing on. And say you are someone who want to move with the market. When the market enters, you would like to enter. If that's you, you're focusing on the RSI. You need to see the RSI bouncing off from there. If not, you are not interested, right? That's what the market shows you. So now you go back into the XRP side of things using a monthly chart and you're like, that does not look good. Honestly speaking, when the moving average on a monthly is being slowly broken to the downside, the monthly close, if it's going below that, it's going to be very choppy. One of the arguments here is this. You had something like that before, but it was while you were going up. When you broke higher and retested, during the SEC issue, yeah, you came back down. But do we think something similar is going to come out? Do we think the SEC case is about to get solved and you're about to pop through the roof? There is a possibility which you cannot deny. But what you should keep in mind is the amount of fake outs like this on a monthly is very rare. If we get that here, cool, great. But for that, you need to go onto a weekly and ask the question, are we bouncing off? As of now, no. But price to volume for XRP, yes, it's serving a purpose here. It shows you clearly the last weekly candle which closed in red, or the bearish candle, had a lot of volume in the selling side. Right now, with around say 70 to 80% of the same volume in buy side, you are pushing that to the upside, which is still okay. So it's kind of neutral and balanced, just like you saw. You're not watching a euphoric entry of tons of new individuals in the market. But yes, the market itself is showing you the fact that some of these assets, maybe it's the narrative, it's that real world assets being built on top of it. Or maybe it's a ton coin ecosystem where you're watching a lot of these FOMO happening. Depending on which segment you're looking at, you can actually use such platform to actually segregate them. Here you get an advantage. Looking at which of these assets are trending lower, which of them are trending higher. So here you pick one asset, you put that onto a daily. Look at that. Whether it's trending higher or lower, you follow that trend. Historical corrections, it's a good entry. But yes, for some of these coins, you don't have enough price history. So it's going to be a little bit dangerous. Some of these tokens on the other end has been correcting deeply, heavily, right? If you consider where they started from and where they are, the trend is still positive, but the negative divergence kind of pushed them to the downside. So depending on which segment you're using, use such platform to segregate them and to know which side you're entering. And look at whether the market is actually going on this side, which is the bulls, or on the other end. Say, you and I, now this is exchange dependent. It will vary from exchange to exchange. So when you look, you always want to look at exchanges with decent volume for that particular asset. For XRP particularly, I would look at Binance. I would look at Bitrue. But here, for instance, we're using this. And it shows you the buying volume is still decent compared to the selling volume. So you actually take on Ether because of the news, the narrative. And that shows you when that news came in, now whales are interested in selling. Yes, you have decent buying opportunity on the other side. Buyers are interested. But look at the amount of sellers coming in every now and then to neutralize that. This is where the market, the sentiment, everything matches, but the whales and financial institutions are not going to make this easy for you. Maybe we'll watch the total altcoins reaching around $6 trillion. With Bitcoin, maybe the total market is like 7, 8, 9, 10. Say 7.5 to 8, which is still good. Yes, we're not reaching that 10 trillion mark, which we wanted to see, but 7 to 8 trillion dollar is still a decent market for crypto. We started way lower. Now we still stand close to $2.5 trillion. That in itself is a decent area. Now, whether you agree with the market or not, you'll understand that each time the market drops 25 to 30% and stays above the moving average and flirts with that level, that has been one of the best opportunities which we have seen until there was a negative divergence. Do you have a negative divergence? No. Are you above the moving average? Barely, but yes. Weekly close will decide whether we're going to close below this or above it. But in both cases, you are now zooming in to see, can we get a reversal signal? Possible, because the argument of this structure is still there. Can we make this a wave one? That's also possible. But it's not just being possible. The question is what's probable. The probability of this happening should be higher. And that's where I say, okay, there was a trend line like this, which has been valid from March. So the March, April, May, June, here you are, that's still acting as a support. So the news cycle is positive for Ether. That being said, the ERC20s are getting more search volume, which in turn means the market is slowly starting to pick up more liquidity. And anticipate something like this, that can be clear. If you see a breakout here, that's going to be the perfect area. So if Ether breaks around 3650, that's a positive sign. If you see it breaking 3900, perfect. That's going to be the rally season. Because on the other end, Bitcoin is still maintaining 64-65 range, which is very good because that happens to be the all-time highs range. If you pick a monthly chart, you can see that clearly. Even when you are at the all-time highs, if you don't have that exit liquidity coming in, watch. Some of these assets are showing you the exit liquidity is here. Some of them shows it's just starting to come. When they come, that's when the price goes up. The long-term holders sell. So prepare yourself to handle such scenario. XRP is actually showing the same. It's slowly bouncing, but yes, we need to see that going above 2024 range, above 2023 range. That's the perfect scenario for us. So guys, if you want these kind of charts at the right time for the right assets, use the link in the description to reach Scientific Investor family. And if you haven't smashed that like button yet, please consider doing that. Watching the likes go about 250 for few of these videos, I'm happy. Let's try if we can actually push that towards 300. I'll meet you guys on the next video. Bye for now.